Hey, hello everyone. I'm Kushagra and I welcome you all to CSS Battle Saturday Night Live. Welcome here. So who's here today for CSS Battle Live and also to play the new battle just went live. So uh I was a little late to the party. Was just getting the battle ready for you all. So Battle 36 is live. Just like 5 minutes back. Hey Chris, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for coming to Saturday Night Live. I was just making sure everything is fine for the new battle. Let's check it together. So this is battle 36. Oh, we already have people solving it. Let me know how do you folks like the two new targets for the battle. The first one is actually derived from one of the earlier battle targets. There was this target called newspaper, which represented a layout you would generally see in a newspaper. This one is derived from that previous one. This is more of a website layout. So, yeah, hope you find this interesting. Oops. Cool. I think like we have some people joining in. I'm doing the new battles now. Nearly forgot. Yeah, I can see you. You're at the top for battle for target 235. Cool. Let's start with Saturday Night Live then. We have a bunch of people here. So what do we do first? Should we start with a versus battle? Or maybe we can do daily target reverse engineering first and then do the versus later. I guess a lot of you might be doing the battle targets already, so possibly won't be available for doing versus battles. So I think we can do the daily target first. Hey, Coding Acumen. Hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you for dropping by. Could you explain me what is happening here? I'm a full stack web developer. My CSS is just good. I'm assuming you already know about CSS Battle. It's a game. It's a CSS code golfing game primarily, wherein you have these targets. So this is a battle that just went live few minutes back, and battles have targets which you have to replicate using just CSS, maybe some little bit of HTML, but that is all you have to replicate this target as it is, how they look, and you have to do it in least number of characters possible, and that's how you get a good score. That's how you like golf and get a good score. So that's what the game is about. If your question was about the specific stream that we are doing right now, it's called Saturday Night Live. We do this every Saturday. We try to do this every Saturday. And we have started doing two things. Um, we take up one of the daily targets, any interesting daily targets from the past, and we try to reverse engineer a few of the top solutions on that target. So there's this thing called daily targets wherein you have a new target every day. So you can see like for July here, and there are a lot of daily targets from 2 years, uh, 2 years of like past days. So we pick up a recent one. We try to reverse engineer and figure out what the top players do to create them. And another thing that we have started doing recently is doing versus battles. So there's another thing on CSS Battle which is versus battle. and it's essentially like one-on-one fight that you can do with anyone. You get a random target generated for each battle, and then you can choose whoever you want to fight with and do a quick battle with them. So we do these versus battles also on these live stream. If you want, you can anyone can it's free for anyone to join. So if you want, we can do a quick battle. So if like everyone is good, we can start with a daily target. We'll try to reverse engineer one, and then at the end we can do a few versus battles with whoever wants to fight me. Okay. This background music is a little loud. Let me lower it down. Okay, cool. Which daily target should we do today? I like the one we have today. Unfortunately, we can't take it up today since the top solutions would be out tomorrow. So the top solutions for each daily target get unlocked the next day for everyone to learn from. So we can take this one. What about this? The one from which is this 3rd July? That looks interesting. Even this one is interesting. This is also interesting. So which one out of these three? July 1, July 2, or July 3? Any votes for the daily target? If there are no votes, I'll pick a random one probably. Let's do a random number generator. Okay, we want to pick from three. Okay, here we go, folks. One, two, and three, go. Okay, 3rd July it is. Let's do the one from 3rd July. That's our destiny for today. Cool. So, simple target, just the way I like it. Whoa, coding acumen also suggested the one from 3rd July. You got that. Cool. So the first thing that we do, let's try to discuss how would we recreate this in the most straightforward manner, in the most trivial fashion. Um, I could create a grid, uh, actual grid in CSS, and then place these blocks, which are like simple squares. Place those squares in the first row, and then in the second row, just three squares are there. So all these squares get placed. And of course, like the first and the last one in the second row, they have a border radius. Just one corner has a little rounded corner. Um, it has a roundedness to it, so that we can put in. That would be one way. Uh, I was thinking about linear gradient, but then we need this roundedness, right? Linear gradient won't get us this. What else could we do? Um, we could simply place the squares also. That could work. We could have the squares as inline block instead of block, and so they would keep stacking in horizontal manner, because that's the default flow. But then these three would start from here. So we can put a margin left on just this one, just this particular square, and that will push all the three a little bit to the right. This particular amount of space would get created. That's another way. Nothing too fancy. You don't need grid and stuff, but simple squares uh, stacking up in line direction. Yeah, those are the two approaches I can think of. Coding acumen says let's move with grid. Grid would teach us something new. So the thing is, like, we don't try to implement it ourselves with our approaches. The idea is to learn from the top solutions by the other players, and we try to figure out and reverse engineer the solutions to understand what approach was used, because they are like very, they're highly code golf solutions, and also the approach they use are very creative. And that's what we are here to learn, those creative approaches, and also here and there some code golfing tidbits, some tricks, right? So, like once we know how we could create this trivially, let's dive into the top solutions. Cool. So the top solution for this target is by Ludwig. He has that he has it done in 127 characters. Cool. The second best one is by Ilya. That's 133 characters longer. And then interestingly, the third one is three more characters longer than the second one. It's by David. Pretty good variety here. There's hardly any solution. Yeah, these two are 142. Again 142. But yeah, apart from those three, all solutions have different character sets. Not sure about the approaches, but yeah, the character count is definitely different. Let's load up Ludwig's solution and let's get on to the reverse engineering. Sure, coding acumen. See you later. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, let's do some unminification quickly. Opaque background. There's a nested universal selector. That has become a pretty standard um, structure we have seen in daily targets, right? You have a big declaration on a universal selector, and then mostly you have a nested rule. Sorry, I used the wrong word. You have a big rule set which is on the universal selector, and then a nested rule again on a universal selector. Pretty much a standard thing you see in the daily target top solutions, or generally in top shell solutions. Cool. Now that we have this, let's try to figure out what's there. And we'll start by commenting out all the declarations, and we'll uncomment them one by one so that we know what each declaration is doing. Also, one thing that we start with is putting in some outline on everything so that we exactly know what element is where. So this is it, the uh, default thing that we get. The solution, like most ones, does not use any HTML tag. So body and HTML tag is all we have, just those two. The first thing that the solution does is puts in a height. Okay, it puts in a height of 80 pixels on everything. So that is body and HTML both, right? And I guess, I'm not sure, but these squares, are they 80 pixels or are they longer? I think they're 80 pixels. Yeah, they're 80 pixels. So, fair enough. Every element, the two elements that we have, they are set to 80 pixels. Before background, probably I would want to try this out. I'll leave it, like, let's do the background. I mean, these look pretty straightforward. Let's do the background first, and that's the only complex part anyways. Okay, let's uncomment it out, and we should get something once this is out. Okay, so there is a conic gradient which is set on the background image property. through, of course, the shorthand. So there is this background image of conic gradient. It seems to be repeating in x axis, which makes sense. We want it to repeat horizontally. Then there are few, there's a pair of values set here. So if you want to figure out like what exactly this is, we could do an inspect on our preview, and then we can see what the background property is doing. So if we uncollapse this, we would see that the 40 VW here, that's the value after the slash. That is the background size, and the value before the slash becomes the position, right? Because there's just one value specified for each of those properties. 0 gets taken up as the background position for x direction, for the x axis, and the y gets the default center. And similarly, for the background size, since we just have one value that gets used up for both x and y. So in a sense, we set the background size to 40 by 40, 40 VW by 40 VW. That is the background size for us. Okay. Also note 40 pixels turns out to be 160. 40 VW, sorry, turns out to be 160 pixels for our iframe, which is 400 into 300. So essentially, what we are doing is we're creating a background image of 160 by 160 pixels, and it's positioned at 0 center. We'll see what that does, but a square background image of 160 by 160, and it has a conic gradient as the background image, right? So let's see what's happening. Okay, so let's try to reset a few things and see what's happening. Let's make the background size 0 as well. 0 won't be a good number. Let's keep it 40 VW itself. And let's try to figure out the background image first. Maybe we can remove the repeat thing. Let's make it no repeat so that we know what is the thing. Okay, why did it break? Okay, the parenthesis got removed for some reason. Cool. So this is without the repeat. Makes more sense now. Another thing we can do to simplify stuff here is let's do this just for the body tag probably. Okay. Once we put the background on the body, it gets a little difficult to understand because remember the special case of backgrounds, where if you set a background on the body and there is none on the root element, the background just propagates to the root canvas, the infinite canvas behind the page. So that's what's happening here. Our background, the conic gradient background on the body, gets propagated to the root canvas, and it becomes a little difficult to understand there. What we can do is we can set a background on HTML tag itself. Yeah, this is much better. Yellow, and let's do orange. Yeah, better now. Okay. So now that we have a background on HTML, the background on body won't propagate to top elements, to the root canvas specifically, and it will stay on the body. So much better, much easier to understand now. Okay, so the body is 80 pixels in height, It has a background image set on it. Also note like there is a background color as well, which acts as a default background on the uh, on the body. So wherever there is no background image, you would see this background color, which is essentially the red color. So that is why you see red filled up inside body. And we have a background image which is 160 by 160 pixels, which is what body VW evaluates to. So 160 by 160 square, and which is a conic gradient. Okay. I think what's happening here is, if you remember from last stream, I think uh, it had the solution that we were trying to reverse engineer had a similar conic gradient, and what that was being used for was to create a sort of chess-like structure where you have alternating colors in the checkerboards. So if we Hey Juan, thank you for coming. Welcome to the stream. So just to recap that thing, if we do have a div and you set some height and width, let's take the same thing, 160 pixels. That's what the background image is, right? For what we are debugging. It is 160 by 160, and it's supposed to be a square. Let's put in a background so that we can see a square. So this is a square, and now this is a trick. Like if we put in a background image that is a conic gradient. Now see, like let's start from one color. Let's start with let's say black. You take black till 25%, right? So 25%, and remember, like conic gradient color stops are in terms of angles, right? That's how a conic gradient proceeds. So percentage would finally get evaluated to uh, some angle, which is obviously out of 360, which is the whole circle. So 25% here would mean 25% of 360, which would be 90 degree. So 90 degree of black color, that is what we are setting here. And then let's say let's do blue. Blue again starts with, let's say, 0 and goes up till 90%. I'm not sure if this is right. Yeah, the syntax I'm using is probably a longer version. Sorry. It can probably be reduced for code golfing purposes. But what we're trying to understand is, like, if you create a conic gradient that starts with one color, goes up till like 90 degrees with the same color, and then if you change the color um, to something else, you would get this square with the first color, and then you could alternate with again the same color, which starts at 90 degree, 90%. It shouldn't have been 90%, 50%. Yeah. So now if you start the black color again at 50% mark, you would get this black, blue, black. And then if you put in blue again at this would be 180 degree, right? Is this is 25%, 50, 75%, right? So 75% is 270 degrees, I believe. Yeah. So black starts from 50%, black goes up till 75%, and that's where you start blue again, right? So you can see using a conic gradient, if we alternate colors, or it doesn't matter, like if whatever colors you put, but if you have the color stops at 90 degree each, you would get this checkerboard-like pattern. And this is a illusion, essentially. Conic gradient creates a conic gradient, right? It's a gradient that goes along a circle, round and round, right? But since the background of a square is clipped by the square's edges, we don't see the conic gradient as a circle or as something going like this, but it gets clipped into a square. So if you take a conic gradient with hard stops and you clip it into a square, this is what you would essentially get, a sort of checkerboard-like pattern. So this is what is happening, I believe. If you see, like we start with this color, which is it's the bright red color, right? It starts with a bright red color. It goes up till 50%, and then the rest is filled by the light uh, sort of pink color. The rest is filled by the pink color. So it's not creating a checkerboard pattern because the color stops are not at 90 degrees. So you won't get the checkerboard pattern, but it's essentially filling our 160 by 160 square in two halves. The first half is the bright red, this color, and the other half gets filled with the pink color. So if you were to like see what's happening with this, we could first of all, they are just like two stops. Essentially, it's like one stop. So this the solution basically takes black to 50% and then it puts in blue at 50%, right? This should ideally work. No? I'm a little confused with the color stops for a conic gradient, but essentially it's something like this. The syntax you see in the solution, that's probably a shorthand, but it's doing the same thing, I believe. It creates it has a single color stop at 50%, and one half, as in 50%, gets filled with one color and the other half with the other color. So that's how you get this. This is where the conic gradient starts. So 50% gets filled with red and the other half with the pink color. And remember, this is a background image of 160 by 160 pixels. But since the body is getting clipped at 80 pixels by setting a hard-coded height, we see just half of the background image, right? And we could verify this actually if or we can do it straight from here. If I were to increase the height of body, you can see 160 is what the background image size is. What if I increase the height more? What if I increase the body height more? Okay, you can still see the background image. Is it getting repeated? This is the body and has a background image of 160 pixels. And we have set it to no repeat, so it should not repeat. But then why do we see another 160 by 160 square here? Hmm, interesting. Should not be repeating. Hmm. How do we debug this? Let's verify if the background is not getting repeated. Yeah, the background repeat is set to no repeat, so it should not repeat. Even the conic gradient is a non-repeating conic gradient. I'm not sure if there is a repeating conic gradient. But anyways, it's not repeating. And this is the whole body, and I believe it should not matter to whatever height I take it to. Yeah, the conic gradient just works. Background image size does limit the width of a background image. So basically, if I reduce this, let's say 30, you can see the width does reduce. But then what about the height? Why is the conic gradient just like elongated along the body height? Why doesn't the height um, also reduce? Why is it sort of like looking like it's getting repeated? Let me check the background repeat again. Is it just for background repeat X or is it for both the axes? Background repeat is no repeat. Yeah, it's not for X and Y. It seems to be for both. What if I set the background repeat manually? Yeah, still the same. So it's not about repeat. It's something else which makes the conic gradient stretch along the height of body tag. What's that? Okay, so if you're new here, we're trying to figure out one of the top solutions, not the one of the top, it's the top solution by Ludwig on July 3rd daily target. And we are stuck at a particular point. We're trying to figure out this conic gradient. This is a conic gradient which is sized at 40 VW in the original solution. And 40 VW turns out to be 160 pixel for our frame. So it's essentially a square of 160 by 160 pixels, and it has a conic gradient inside it. But the thing that we are noticing here is the width does get limited to 160 pixel, but the height doesn't get limited to 160 pixel. For some reason, it looks like the background image, the conic gradient, is stretching along the height of body, when I would really expect it to end somewhere here, which would be like 160 by 160 square, having the conic gradient inside it. So that's what we are trying to figure out. If you have any idea why that is happening here, just please let me know in the comments so that we can learn together and figure this out together. Okay, there's one more thing I wanted to check. The background size here. It's 40 VW. Again, um, not specifically for any axis, but gets applied to both the axes. Then why is the conic gradient elongated? Hmm, this is strange. By the way, let's check out what's happening with the new battle. What's up with the leaderboard? Okay. Whoa, a score of 700. That's really low by Ilya. Well, Murugan is at the top for the first target. Nice. Some new names. Exactly one new name. But yeah, nice to see someone new on the leaderboard. Cool. Okay, getting back to our conic gradient. Hmm, who can guide us here? Oof, oof, oof. What would be a way to figure this out? Should we move this to our reduced test case? Okay, so this is our dev. Let's make it like a body. Let's put in, let's make it big. Let's make it 300 pixel by 300 pixel. Let's make the background color a little more in contrast with our conic gradient colors. And then instead of 40 VWO, let's make it a small square. Okay. Okay. Again, the same behavior. This is a complete body. Not the body, it's complete div, and it's 300 by 300 pixels. And we have set a background image, which is a conic gradient, just like in the solution. And the image size is 100 pixel by 100 pixel, positioned at 0, of course. So again, we get this as 100. The conic gradient width is restricted to 100 pixel, but for some reason the height is not. Is it about the color stops? It shouldn't be. Let's do another test here. Let's use a linear gradient instead of a conic one, and let's see if that gets restricted to our 100 pixel by 100 pixel background size. So again, like this is similar. We start with the bright red color up till 50%, and then the light or pink color comes in at the hard stop and fills rest of the space. And just to verify this, like let's make it 90-degree instead of 0 degrees. So now our red color is at left, starts from left and goes on towards the right side, right? So that's how we get the bright red here, and then it ends at 50% and the rest is filled by pink. Okay, it's behaving the same way. Even the linear gradient that is for some reason extending throughout the height of body. Why is it not stopping at 100 pixels? Maybe we can remove all this and see what's happening. Let's do it with different properties instead of using a shorthand. So this is what we get by default. Linear gradient fills up the complete div because the background image is sized as same as the element it is on. Let's limit the size using background size. Let's make it 100 pixel. It repeats. That's okay, but we don't want it to repeat. So we bring in no repeat. Why does it still repeat along the y-axis? That's weird. I really need some help here. If anyone has an idea why the background image is repeating. I think no, even that's not the case. Okay, so the background size was only for the X direction. It was not getting applied for the Y direction. So the point is like if you give just one number that gets applied for the X axis, not for the Y axis. And we did check this here, but seems like it doesn't tell you how the size gets applied to different axes, to the X and Y. It just gives you, it just like shows you whatever you wrote, right? But we should get clarity here. If you specify one number, one value syntax, the width of the image is what is set by the single number, and then the height becomes shorter. So that's what's happening in our case. Gosh, maybe I read about it, but yeah, totally forgot it. If you specify one number again, that's just for the width, and the height stays auto, which is the default. Cool, let's get back to the solution. Okay, so this sets the background size to a single number, and so it gets applied just to the width and not the height, and so the gradient keeps like it's um, it stretches along the complete height of the body, right? So that is why we see this. And now if we reduce the height back to 80, that's what the solution needs. We get this. Cool. And remember, like this was repeat X. We set it to no repeat to figure out stuff. But if we set it to repeat X, we would expect this particular thing to repeat along the X-axis, right? So let's get that in again. So this is what we get. Um, Pretty close, at least the first row is recreated. So while we have this, let's also unlock this on both the elements. So that's what the original solution was. Uh, we have it right now on just the body, but the solution has the same thing on universal selector. So you would notice the same thing gets uh, applied to the HTML tag as well. You see the same thing happening behind. If we were to just like position the body a little bit, let's give it some offset, you would see there is this HTML tag behind and the body is here, and both have essentially the same thing. This strip-like pattern, checker-like pattern created through the conic gradient. That's what both the elements have. Okay, so this margin we added to see both the tags clearly separated apart, but the original solution also has a margin on the nested universal selector, which would get applied on just the body. That's the only nested element we have. So let's unlock this, and as you would expect, the body gets offset by 80 pixels, and which is exactly the dimension of these squares. So that's how the body lands up 80 pixels offset in the in the x direction and 80 pixels offset in the y direction as well. At this point, we can probably remove the outline thing we added for debugging purposes. And at this is a pretty uh, this is a pretty decent outcome we already have with just the background, a height, and a margin, right? And if you note, all we need right now is this roundedness on two of the squares. We don't have separate squares here, but essentially, like it's a border radius on our body tag. Essentially, like this is a body tag. Remember, this part, the three squares, that's the body, offset at 80 pixels in both the directions. So we essentially need just a border radius on the body tag, and that's it. And we should have a final target. So that's what the solution also does. Sets a border radius on just the two corners, right? So this is 0, this is 0, this is 5ch and 5ch. And that's how you get this border radius. Nice, very, very like concise, but again, very creative solution by Ludwig. Um, Especially the use of conic gradient that gets applied on both, and then the the whole margin thing. It's very neat here. It serves actually multiple purposes. First of all, it offsets the body by the required 80 pixels in both the directions. But because the margin is on all the four directions, on all the four sides of body, you'll notice like this is the body, the blue region that you see, and it has 80 pixel margins all around, right? In all the four, on all the four edges. So that plays the second role. Because there is 80 pixel margin here and here as well, we know that margins push the element inside. It acts as a size reducer for any element, and so the body size actually reduces. Essentially, it would have been same as HTML element stretching along the width the complete width of the canvas, the iframe. But because there is 80 pixels and 80 pixels here, you essentially lose two squares because it gets reduced by 160 pixels um, effectively on both the sides. And that's how you get a smaller body with two squares less. And that's the second benefit of margin. So that is pretty neat. That is pretty awesome how margin gets used here. Again, like four properties and all that is all the solution needs to create this wonderful target. Awesome one. Cool. We can see some more top solutions if they are different really. Second solution by Ilya, the second best solution. It's three character long, but I think it's the same approach. Yeah, it looks like the same approach. Though the numbers are not really same, and that's why uh, it lost like three characters there. There's one thing I was wondering, like, why is a repeat X here? It could have been simply repeat. Okay, no, it can't be repeat because remember the HTML background, whatever background you set on the HTML tag, that would boil up to the root canvas because root canvas has to take the background from some element. If it finds one on HTML, it takes from there. If there's no HTML, there's no background on the HTML tag, it takes from the body, but it has to. So the HTML background essentially boils up on the root canvas, and so you would see it repeating in the y direction. That's not what we want. Even though HTML is set to 80 pixels, it doesn't matter. The background is no more on the HTML tag, it's on the root canvas. So that's why the solution had to put in repeat X. So I think the units used are different here, the margins are different. So that's why it probably lost three characters. I think it's the same case for David's solution as well. Seems the same again, the approach wise, but the numbers are a little bit different, and that's where it lost three more characters than the previous one, but essentially the same. Even Jiraj's solution uses a conic gradient, again on a 160 by 160 square. Okay, it's a little bit different here. Maybe we can check this out quickly. So let's try to debug this without unminifying the code. And let's see if we can do it. So it looks like a little bit same than compared to Ludwig's solution, but there's slight difference. Let's try to see. So there's this HTML, which has, I guess it's the same thing. It's 160 by 160, 160 height and 100%, oh, sorry, 160 width and 100% height rectangle, which has a conic gradient, so essentially creating a half section one color, half section one color. That's the same thing. It's on the HTML tag and it's on the body as well. No, it's not on the body. That's the difference. Okay, interesting. Maybe we can hide the body. That's what we get. If we see that conic gradient, it's on HTML tag only, and this is what it creates, right? So that's how we get this thing, the top row, but then we want the body somewhere here, right? And it also should clip the rest of the content downwards. So that's where body comes in. If you see, it's positioned exactly where we need the three squares, and it is positioned there using margins. Right? The margin 20%, 20%, 35%. That is what uh, brings in the body in the right dimension at the right position. And then it has a box shadow around it. you can see there's a box shadow which has a good spread around it, 192 pixels of spread of this color, and that's how it creates this color around it, right? So this is the element, the body, and it creates a box shadow around it using the spread, and that's how it hides the stuff behind it, which is the HTML tag. Remember, there is this coordinate gradient elongated throughout the height. So we want to somehow hide the rest of the stuff, right? So that's done using the box shadow. And of course, the background is also, yeah, sorry, I missed this. The background is also on the body, and that's how we get this thing. Hey Parag, welcome to the stream. Hello. Cool. So yeah, again, interesting solution. Little bit different approach. The checkers are like the squares are created using conic gradient, that was same. But then uh, the way body is positioned, the height setting was missed in the solution. It instead uses box shadow, and that's why it's a little bit longer. Cool. I think like uh, we have figured quite a bit of solutions. We are anyways at the end of our time. So it's time for versus battles then. Who wants to fight? Let's do versus battles. Okay, I'll create a room. I'll create a public room, and whoever wants to go one-on-one with me on a versus battle, you can do it from the home page. So if you go on the home page, you would see my battle listed here. I am free now. Could we have one-on-one? Yes, coding acumen. Are you in the room already? Yeah, you can join it from the home page. That's the home page. Yeah, you would see my battle listed here. Um, you can join it, and I should see you here in the room. By the way, after last stream, I think I added the chat on this room page as well, the lobby. So again, I can hit the backtick, or you can do Control M. Okay, coding acumen is here. We have a challenger, and you can now also chat on this page.
Player, hit the ready button.
Oh, you have already hit the ready button, so my taunt doesn't make sense, but yeah, just for the fun. Okay, let's do it. We're doing a time attack. It's not code golfing. Hey, coding acumen. I see your chat. We're doing a time attack, so the first one to get 100% wins. It's not always possible to get 100% in short duration. So we'll do first to get whatever highest percent wins. Even like if we're out of time, whoever has higher percentage match wins. Okay, we'll do a 5-minute battle, a quick one, a short one, and we'll do easy difficulty. Okay, I think we are good to go. Let's fight. One tip, since I think we are doing it for the first time here, one, as in when you have a good thing showing up, as in when you have made some progress, do submit
3,
your solution
2, 1.
so that you can
Play.
fill in your progress bar. We can see your progress. Cool, let's fight. Interesting target. I'll start with a square, probably. Let's do a square, and that is, I think it's 100 pixel. And the way I'll position it is using margin this time. I'll do 100. Let me just dim the music. Yeah, I'll do 100, 200 maybe, too much. 150 and maybe 70, 60. Oh, this is top, sorry. 80, 95. Yeah, that is correct. And this would be, I think, 140. Yeah, that's right. And we need a little more height or width and height both. too much. Oh, and this is also not correct. 35, 36. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, that's where our square is. And then we have another element, which is the circle. Let's submit. Let's do a taunt.
Submit now, please.
Okay, so this another element. Let's put in an attribute here for quick access. And this is what our circle would be. So this should have a border radius of 50%. The height is a little bit less, I guess half, somewhere half of a square. And it also has a border. Let me turn on the diff. It has a border of, it's more than 3, I think. Let's put in some random color for now. Let's also position it at the center. I'll use an absolute position for this circle, and it's somewhere here. And I'll bring it back to center using transform, or I can straight away do a translate of minus 50%. 2 minutes left. Coding acumen. Try submitting as soon as you have something. Oh, why didn't that work? I have left and top. Oh, there's a margin as well. So this was okay, but we don't want margin on this element, right? Cool. So we have it at the correct position. I just need to tweak the dimensions. This is more than the square. Let's set the right border color, and let's put in the right background color here as well. Oh, are we already done? The border radius is a little more. What? 9.4% match? Really? Oh, I think I didn't have the background color. Okay, the height is a little more. Let's put in more height. Oh, I already had a height. It's, I think, 55 probably. 58, 59, no, it's 60. Yeah, so 60 height, and even the width is a little more. Yeah, it's 10 more, I guess. 160. No, it's 155. 51 seconds, coding acumen.
Submit now, please.
No, it's not even 155. What is it? 160. Is it more? 165. Okay, I think that's about it. 170 should do it. Probably the border is a little bit less. I think it's 12. Yeah, probably. This should work. Let's try submitting. Okay, I think the border, it's the same bug. I should have fixed it before the stream. I got 99.8, but then it got reset for some reason, so I'll submit again. 1 second to go. I need a score. Okay, I got 99.8. Fun one. You got pretty close to coding acumen. Like if you had the background color set, at least you would have got much better square. I think you got the target correct, pretty close. But it's a good hack for at least the time attack battles. So you should always set the background color beforehand. The first thing you should do is set the background color, because at least you get the majority of the region. Uh, no, it's not at all bad. You got the main thing correct. It's just that you didn't set the background, so all your green pixels were not counted. They were counted as white. Thanks for playing Coding Acumen. Good fight. Okay, we'll do one more, just one more, and then we'll bounce off. So let me create one more public battle. Let's have someone else do a one-on-one. Okay, there should be a battle available to join on the homepage. If anyone is interested, I'm waiting in the room. Oh, by the way, I'm like gearing for the general launch, public launch for the Versus feature. Remember, like it's in beta right now, so few things are not available as well, and it's unlocked. It's not unlocked for everyone. You need an invite to play this. So I think it should be ready in a week or so. The easy difficulty is there, medium and difficult difficulties are
3,
getting ready,
2, 1.
and probably will get
Play.
in the ranking system as well. Oh, this is not this is not an easy one. Should have come in a medium difficulty. But yeah, what the hell? Let's do it. Okay, let's see who can get a higher percentage here. This would be a tough one. Let's do it, Chris. Okay. This is weird. I think it's a square, but then what are these? Are these circles? Are these capsules? I don't know. Let's see. S- There's the square, probably 150 by 150. I don't like the pixels. Keep it short. Okay, seems right. Let's get it. Let's position it absolutely. I find that much more easier to like tweak. This is absolute. Oops. Not sure about clip path coding acumen. Like, I am still not sure about these rounded things. Are they really circle? Doesn't look like circle. Again, I could be wrong. Okay, we should have our square in the center. It's a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. 160 probably. Is it even a square or is it a rectangle? Oh, it's a square. Am I making it shorter than it is? 165? It's very difficult to locate. The structure is really complex. Let's use this. 160, 170, that's too big. I think it's not a square, it's a rectangle. 160. Hey Nagesh, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it wasn't a square, it was a rectangle. So we have the square in place. Then let's put in the circles. Oh damn, I didn't set the timer to 5 minutes. We'll have 11 minutes. Okay, that's too long. Even though I know I won't be able to finish the target probably in 11 minutes too. But for this target it feels long, 11 minutes. But fine. Let's put in circles. Let's see if they are circles or not. I'll use the C attribute for the circles. They are again of the same color. I could in fact use div itself so that I get. Okay, let's assume those are circles, probably 60. and the height is 60 as well, and background we won't need to set, it's already bluish. Okay, we could adjust the left and top. It looks good. Let's put in the border radius to make it a circle. And now let's get it in the right place and verify if it's a circle or not. Even this thing, there's another thing. Probably this is also a circle. Yeah, it's a circle. Yes. There's a big circle right on top of the rectangle, and then there are these small circles, 4 or 5 small circles. So let's get the big circle in place first. I'll call the smaller circle C1. We'll put them later. But this is one second. Yeah, whatever. So C is a circle, and we want the big circle to be in center as well. So we'll keep the top left run translates, just that the width and height need to be set. It's bigger, a little bigger. 170 should do it, probably. And I think it's a circle, so yeah. No, I'm not sure if it's a circle or not. That looks good. No, it's more, right? Let's use the diff again. 190? Yeah, that's it, it's a circle. It's a 190 by 190 circle. And then we are left with placing the smaller ones, right? The smaller circles. Let's get the first one. It's somewhere in the top left corner. 60. Aspect ratio won't work because we already have a height set from the previous declaration. We'll need to set both manually. Oh, I didn't submit.
Bye!
Just saying, Chris. I'm not going. Okay. Let's position it 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 30. I think it's a little bit smaller. Probably 50. That should work. Let's get it down a little bit more. I think that's too much. Is that what we want? No. We want it a little bit up. 75 should do it, I think. Yeah. But it doesn't look like a circle. Yeah, it's not a circle, as I said. It's something else. And I don't know what. What is even that shape? So we can do one thing. Since it's like whoever gets higher percentage wins, so we can at least like get to an approximation, and then we can try to figure out what those shapes are, because I really don't have any idea. Okay, let's bring in 4 more circles. And what should we name them? So I'll call them A, B, I don't have C available. M, N, O, and P for easy references. And this is D, and we need to position M, N, and O. Let's do the 4 circles first, and then we'll think about this smaller one. Okay, this one, it's a little more to the right. Too much. 250. Yeah, that's correct. This one is a little to the left than the previous one. 110 should be okay. We want to bring it down. Too much. 170 should do it, and then yeah. This would be 170 on the same Y, but this would be somewhere 250, 260, 270, 280. Yeah, that's right. Let's do a summit at this point. Let's bring in the RAS circle, which doesn't look like circle to me. Oh, like that's the one that looks like circle to me. But that's also smaller than rest of the circles. I don't know like how the hell even this target got generated. Doesn't seem to be following any algorithm that we have in place. Okay, so this one is P. Let's place it first. Okay, it's a close battle. 4 minutes to go and we are just 1% apart. We can bring back the 50% because it's in center. And then the top, I think, it looks good. 229 probably, 8. Yeah, we have reached a good approximation for this difficult target. I'm still not sure what the shapes are, but let's do a summit here. It shows 99% for us both, but I think the decimals are not shown. It's 99.9 for me. I think it's the same for Chris as well. I think we are at tie. Let's see if we can increase our match. What is even this thing? It's not a circle? Is it a capsule? No, doesn't look symmetrical enough to be edge of a capsule. What if I zoom and see what is it? And sometimes it looks like a circle to me. Is it a capsule that's going like this? No. Looks like circle to me, but then maybe I have it positioned wrongly. And we anyways at 99.9. We can try changing the dimensions. Hmm. And chat is all I can do. Yeah, it's really hard. And not because of the shape, but can't even figure out what the shape is. You can activate it using either the backtick or Control M, and that should get the chat box in front of you.
I'm at 99.9.
Perfect. Perfect taunt for the situation. I just want to keep pressing
I'm at
this.
99.9.
Chris, you probably want to say the same thing, the same taunt. Okay, 1 minute to go. Can we figure this out? Can't find this chat on Mac. Try pressing Control M. I'm on Mac. Control M would give you a chat box right in the center. So if you can see my screen, once I press Control M, you see this input, the chat input. I can type in anything here. Try pressing Control M again.
I'm at 99.9.
Yes, you found it. So you can put in a few numbers. We have few tones. You can press 1 to 6, any number, and that gives you a tone. That said, I forgot to update this number. We have 6 tones.
I'm at
5.
99.9.
That's 5. Tone number 5. Exactly fitting to the situation. Okay, let's try one last thing. It's just 17 seconds left. I don't think we can do it. Let's try 60. No, that's too much. Okay, I surrender. I need that as a taunt also, but I surrender, Chris. Let's see who wins. Probably a draw. Oh, I won by 0.1 percentage. Yes. Where did you go wrong? Where did you miss that 0.1 percentage? But yeah, fun target. Um, Not 100% worthy, but yeah, fun nevertheless. Yes, that was tough and fun. Cool. We are too much ahead of our time, and that would be our last versus battle. Fun daily target, fun versus battles today. Thank you, Coding Acumen, for joining us, and it was fun fighting you. And Chris, thank you for again a versus battle, a fun versus battle. Cool, that will be it for today. We'll see you next Saturday again with some more versus battles. Hopefully, you can also join us next Saturday. We'll do some versus battles again, and also a fun daily target that we'll try to reverse engineer and try to understand one more creative approach by a top player. I'll see you next Saturday. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, so that you get notified. I'll see you later. Bye bye.